bless them, bless him children, family, and the business. And I pray, Heavenly Father, the Holy Spirit invite to each table to be there and help you to go through for your life, whatever which you going through. And I know from today, each of you are going to be blessed. And everything which I said in the name of the Lord and Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mrs. Sharp, for that powerful prayer. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor again to welcome to the stage tonight the ambassador of Zimbabwe to the United States. The ambassador has over 30 years in diplomacy, negotiations, and holding various government and international positions. And today, he will deliver the welcome remarks for us. Ambassador Chifamba.
Really, my word is those people who. Is this how I put it on? Well, good evening to you all. I want to begin by acknowledging the Chief Executive of WestProp, also the AmCham Chairman, Mr. Oliver. I also want to recognize all our diaspora in your various capacities. I know that some of you work for multilateral organizations, some are in corporate America, some are business persons in your own right, and obviously the rest occupy different stations in life. You are all welcome. Once again, good evening. Am I talking to myself? Good evening. Okay, can you be alive? Well, as your ambassador to the United States, or ambassador of Zimbabwe, I notice that we do have some people who are not Zimbabwean. My mandate is to advance economic diplomacy here in the United States, which is really anchored on the search for the promotion of mutually beneficial partnerships. Our push is not to look for aid, but for partnerships. And as Zimbabweans, you have your own birthright because we come from a well-endowed country with a lot of natural and mineral resources as well as human capital. You of course know that our flora and fauna is unmatched. His Excellency the President of Zimbabwe, Comrade Emmerson Mnangagwa, has reiterated that Zimbabwe is open for business, and the Second Republic therefore welcomes and provides opportunities for all Zimbabweans at home and in the diaspora to take part in national development efforts in line with our National Development Strategy 1 as we move towards the attainment of Vision 2030, which proclaims that Zimbabwe is moving towards a prosperous and empowered upper middle income economy by 2030. In fact, there is a very bold determination that we should get there even before 2030. Today's conversation, ladies and gentlemen, is focused on the real estate sector in Zimbabwe, which is one of the fastest growing sectors in our economy. During the various diaspora outreach programs that, as your ambassador, we have undertaken, and I'm a bit hesitant to say this, we've been to quite a number of states to talk business. And Ken, you have provided us an opportunity to meet here in DC for this kind of conversation for the first time. And I want to say, big up, guy. So during the various outreach programs in the many states that we visited, our diaspora has expressed an interest and a desire to invest in housing infrastructure back home. However, they have highlighted common challenges relating to how they have lost their hard-earned funds to relatives, that is families and friends, as well as bogus real estate agents. The second major point that we have encountered in our diaspora outreach and investment promotion missions is that both our diaspora and the other USA potential investors are interested in exploring the broader opportunities for investment in this sector. As Zimbabwe's embassy to the USA, we have taken these concerns very seriously, and we are engaging reputable real estate companies to help facilitate diaspora investments into housing and real estate. We are very pleased to partner with WestProp, and this event is the first of many more similar exchanges to come with different real estate agents or property developers. WestProp is one of the biggest real estate developers in Zimbabwe, contributing massively to infrastructure development in the country. The company has a credible track record and launched a number of products to the satisfaction of their clients. Some of these products include Millennium Heights, Pokugara Residential Estate, and Pomona City. More details on these projects and more will be provided during today's conversation. Allow me, therefore, to congratulate Ken Sharp once again of WestProp for taking this initiative to partner with the embassy for detailed engagement with our diaspora on this very important subject. Some of the frequently asked questions, Ken, and this is for you and your team. Some of the frequently asked questions that we have encountered as we engage our diaspora on this particular subject are the following, and this is just a snapshot, it's not exhaustive. How can we, and the we there refers to the diaspora, how can we ensure that we don't lose our hard-earned money to families or friends and bogus estate agents? What guarantees, legal or regulatory, do we have that WestProp can deliver on what you are promising people tonight? Does WestProp have a track record for delivery of quality services? Is there no risk of investing in housing construction on contested land or on risky areas such as wetlands? If we put, this is the next question, if we put our properties on the rental market, will we be able to remit those funds or those rentals for purposes of repaying housing loans here in the USA? Are there guarantees that the housing projects will be fully serviced? In other words, there will be TAD services, running water, there will be refuse collection, or even off-grid electricity. Are my title deeds safe in Zimbabwe, or does the law provide adequate protection to property rights? What are the flexibilities in the national building standards? Is Zimbabwe open to new technologies and materials that mitigate against extreme weather patterns and fire hazards? Can investors remit earnings from their investments to cover their loans and as profits and dividends? What are the opportunities for the provision or installation of off-grid power solutions? Is WestProp open to establishing joint venture partnerships, and if so, what are the broad parameters for such? Is Zimbabwe building smart cities, and what are the main features of such cities? So this gives you the kind of nightmare scenario that any ambassador interacting with the diaspora is expected to provide answers. And for tonight, I'm glad that you are here to answer these very questions, not on my behalf, but to the satisfaction of the audience. Investment opportunities are available in all sectors of the economy of Zimbabwe. And I'm glad tonight we have the chairman of the American Chamber of Commerce in Zimbabwe, who is going to share with us experiences of American companies that are already doing business in Zimbabwe, as well as encouraging you to become members of the AmCham. We hope to open the US chapter of the American Chamber of Commerce during the course of this year. So the investment opportunities are many, and these include, but are not limited to, addressing, especially when we are talking about the real estate sector, addressing national housing deficit. In all provinces, there is demand for housing. There is also demand for student accommodation. In Zimbabwe, the student population which requires accommodation is around 120,000. And this affects students in all provinces in the major universities. So we are saying that the population is about 120,000 demanding accommodation, and I think the housing stock or accommodation available is between 20,000 to 30,000. So this is an investment opportunity for us. There's need for the construction of schools, of hospitals, but then broadly, the other opportunities for investment are in the areas such as tourism, in the area of mining. As a Zimbabwean, as Nabasa, it doesn't matter you are in the diaspora. You are entitled, if you would want, to explore possibilities of owning a mining claim. You can always have those opportunities, but of course you can't do it remotely. You would need some foot soldiers. And you also have to be prepared where it's beneficial to you to go into a mutually beneficial partnership with claim holders already in Zimbabwe. And as an embassy, we are there to assist you to identify such potential partners. We also have opportunities in agriculture as well as in renewable energy. I have really not opened the door for you to come and say, Ambassador, can I have a farm? We'll try to give you help, but again, you would need foot soldiers to go and identify areas where land is still available. But we will make a pitch on your behalf as well. So we do have a one-stop investment promotion agency called the Zimbabwe Investment Development Authority, ZIDA. And ZIDA has developed matchmaking platforms for mining and tourism sector, for the mining and tourism sectors. And the one for the agriculture is being developed. If you go on the ZIDA website, you'll be able to click on these matchmaking platforms and see for yourselves the kind of investment opportunities and potential partners with whom you can go into joint investment projects. The preferred investment models depend on the preference of the investor, but it typically falls into any one of the following investment types: public-private partnerships, or you can go it alone as a private investment. And there are also opportunities for you to invest in special economic zones. These are zones with a lot of incentives, and we'll be giving you more information if you also engage through the embassy. Our diaspora can take a lead in these investment opportunities as a way of showing confidence and attracting broader USA foreign direct investment into Zimbabwe. Already, the USA diaspora community continues to be an important pillar, supporting various activities back home through diaspora remittances. Statistics made available by the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe show that total diaspora remittances in 2023 amounted to $1.8 billion from the $1.6 billion recorded in 2022. Of this amount, the USA diaspora contributed 179 million, up from 159 million realized in 2022. I think you need to clap for yourselves again. These figures reflect only remittances channeled via official channels, that is, money transfer agencies and the banking sector. Obviously, the figure is much higher when you consider other unofficial channels which are used on a very large scale. This is a significant source of income which is making a difference to the families back home. As the embassy, we continue to encourage our diaspora to pull together your savings and be able to undertake much bigger projects that are transformational. I think if you look at how the skyline of capitals such as Nairobi, Addis Ababa, or even Kigali is changing, it is largely because of investments from their diaspora. And the trick is very simple. Create some investment vehicles where you can pool your resources together and be in a position to go in big, as you even negotiate with banks here to leverage more capital for investment projects. I always give the example of some Nigerians based in London who put together their resources and bought a lithium claim in Zimbabwe. Today, they are employing Zimbabweans even from as far as Australia to come work for them. This is an opportunity which is open for you. It's your birthright for you to be able to push or look for lithium claims. We have so many minerals. We have more than 60 types of different minerals which can be mined on a commercial basis. So really the challenge is for you. I know we came here for different reasons. I also always say that I'm an ambassador for all Zimbabweans, regardless of affiliation, whether it's political, religious, or the queer ones too. But we represent all Zimbabweans. So please, as we look back at our own country, at our own inheritance, let's do so without fear or favor, because it is our inheritance. And as the president always says, our country can only be built by us taking the lead. And let's demonstrate that indeed together we can. So once again, I want to thank you all for coming and wish you fruitful deliberations this evening. Perhaps those who are on a diet, we can always talk after the meal, but Ken Sharp and his team has made some special arrangements for us all to feed, to learn, to listen, and to exchange. I thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador. Next to the stage, ladies and gentlemen, is a man whose profile caught my eye. I will read the last part. I know it's rare, most people want to start with he is a business executive and all of these wonderful things that he has done, but this is what his profile says. He's proud to be a Christian entrepreneur while adopting a win-win-win philosophy. A win for business, a win for the employee, a big win for the kingdom. He achieves this by donating 51% of profits to ministries around the globe. The man coming to the stage is J.W. Oliver, who I followed on Instagram because of Mr. Ken, who always posts, and he has 20 plus years in business, so we have a lot to learn. Mr. J. Oliver, I don't want to take your time.
I thought you followed me on Instagram because you said I was good looking.
I didn't want to say it live.
I'm very disappointed. I'm quite disappointed.
Thank you, sir.
Well, interesting enough, Tatenda. I know a few words, just a few words. Oh, where'd that go? They spelled my name wrong. I noticed it was Olivier. I actually was born in France. I'm not French, but I was born in France, so I kind of like the little spin there they put on the name. Well, great to be here. It's nice to be surrounded by some familiar faces. I spent a lot of time in Zimbabwe. I just got back on Monday. I get the honor of going 3 or 4 times a year. A little bit about the background of why I'm even in Zimbabwe is I went to a Christian conference back in 2015, and I was checking in at the hotel. It was down in Curacao near South America. And I see this guy, Mr. Sharp, and this lady, Mrs. Sharp, and my wife and I are checking in, and he introduces himself as being from Zimbabwe, and I, of course, at that point thought the only word I know from Zimbabwe was Stevie Wonder's song, you know, and I thought I just could sing the song. Who knows that song? Can anybody sing that song? So that was how I knew where Zimbabwe was. Since then, we partnered on a business venture. We currently employ just under 1,000 people in Zimbabwe. We only started the business in 2017, so really in a short period of time of now about 8 years, we've really grown to employ a lot of people. She mentioned the win-win-win, very important. when we began the organization, we knew we wanted to have a different organization. So we committed to giving 51% of our profits back to various ministries. Now, I always say that was easy when we started because 51% of zero was zero. And it wasn't hard to commit to that, right? But now that's grown. We estimate that's going to be a 7-figure number this year that we're able to donate to various ministries, and we're very proud of that. So we have this win-win-win. We say it's a win for our team members because in Zimbabwe they get a job, and as you know, those are hard to come by. The second is a win for our clients. We represent over 300 clients in the U.S. and UK and Canada and a few other countries. And so we know it's a win for our clients because they get amazing team members. And then third, it's a win for the ministries we support. So I'm very bullish on Zimbabwe. I was not originally. I didn't know much about it. You know, you hear all the negative, but I'm uncovering the positive. And part of that is I realized everybody talked about resources, right? Oh, Zimbabwe's full of resources. The ambassador spoke of it as well. And it is full of resources, but that's not the most important thing in Zimbabwe. The most important thing in Zimbabwe is the people. That is the greatest resource, by far. And I could go on and on and on and brag about the people that we call team members. We don't call them employees because they're team members with us. And we are able to really do some amazing things in Zimbabwe and around the world with not only our ministries, but the support we have. Now, fast forward that, and for some reason, I'm now the chairman for the American Chamber of Commerce Zimbabwe. That was kind of a whirlwind. We were asked to join. A gentleman was starting up a chamber. They said Zimbabwe really needs to have a Chamber of Commerce. We raised our hand and said, well, we'll join. We'll be a founding member. That was about a year and a half ago, I believe October of 22. Not a lot happened that first year. I think we were finding what we needed to do, how we needed to act, and then we had some meetings towards the end of 23, and subsequently I just came back from some meetings, and we have now really formulated. We've got 5 people that are on the board, 4 are from Zimbabwe, and then you have me, the lone one from somewhere else, and it's just a lot of fun. And I can tell you there's some exciting things. The U.S. Embassy in Zimbabwe is very supportive. Our meeting we just had at the embassy last week went very, very well. And I just can't say enough about how exciting it is about the potential and the prospects to do business in Zim. And I think everybody here needs to realize it. I realize when you get into the diaspora, many of you, that you can get disconnected. Some people don't even travel as much as they would like to. I imagine I may go to Zimbabwe more than most. But there is a way to connect your businesses, because one of the questions I get asked a lot when we are at these events is from the Zimbabwe business owners. So what's in it for me? And I always say it's an opportunity for them to connect with business owners in the U.S. and vice versa. And I think now there's a real opportunity to connect for the business owners in the U.S. to connect with those in Zimbabwe as well. So do I need to start over? Y'all just got here. Do you want me to start over? No, I'm kidding. It's just a joke. I'm just joking with you. No, I'm kidding with you. But I think the American Chamber of Commerce Zimbabwe does present a really good opportunity. I hope if you're a business owner, even if you're an individual, you will go to the website. You will find, we're on LinkedIn as well. And I really know that this year is going to be a breakout year for the AmCham, and it's going to really present a lot of great opportunities for you here in the U.S. and also for the business owners that are in Zimbabwe as well. So I'm excited about it. I'm really anxious to see what this year brings. We have a, it was a 10-year goal. Now it's condensed down to 8. We have an 8-year initiative to employ 20,000 at our organization, and we know that we're going to have an impact. We're going to have an impact on businesses in the U.S. because we're supporting them, and we're going to have an impact on our team members. You realize how young Zimbabwe is, right? Everybody knows that. I think I believe between the ages of 17 and 26, something like 64% of the population falls into that age bracket. And they want to work, right? They want stuff to do, and they don't really want to leave. I can tell you, we have some of our higher level team members that are coming back to Zimbabwe to live and to work. So I think it's a great opportunity. Appreciate Ambassador Chifamba being here as well. And also another ambassador. I get to sit by two ambassadors, right? Is that right? Ramayada? No? Mafuzatu? Did I say that right? Yes. Three. I got three all together. Thank them for being here as well. So I'll keep it short. I know you really want to hear, I know you want to eat and you want to hear Ken more than anybody. And just say it's an honor to be here. I'm glad I was able. I live in Texas, so I got back from Zim on Monday night. I got a little bit of yesterday at home, and then we came out here for this event. So very happy to be here and real excited about the AmCham and just the impact that we're going to be able to have. And by the way, I own a property, just so you know. I am a property owner. I'm in block 3. Ken says it's delivered in April. I'm moving in April, so it needs to be ready. I did get to visit it. It is very close, and if you haven't seen it, there's some beautiful properties. I've seen obviously all of the properties, and it's quite impressive. It does give an opportunity as well. So, thanks again. I appreciate you having me, and I hope to learn more myself tonight as well. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your vision and your sentiments on Zimbabwe, Mr. J.W. Oliver. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to hear from the Chief Sales and Marketing Officer for WestProp. This is Marilyn, and Marilyn's experience spans across property asset management. She holds a bachelor's in business, property, and master's in project management, and is a certified property manager, having attained a certification with Institute of Real Estate Management in the USA. Marilyn is one of the engines behind WestProp. If you have not met Marilyn or spoken to Marilyn, you have not had a chance to have somebody inspire you to actually start working hard, saving, and putting your money on the side to get to that stage of saying, I want to own a property with WestProp. When we talk about a get it done attitude, Marilyn is one of those women, and I have the honor to introduce Marilyn, who could not join us today live, but she is here with us live, but not in person. So thank you.
Hello there. I know you're expecting me to be with you tonight. Unfortunately, I'm still here in Harare. Thank you so much for joining us for the dinner tonight. And those who are online, thank you for investing your time to be with us. I'm Marilyn Mosha, Chief Sales and Marketing Officer. And guess what? I've managed to take out the chiefs from their offices to come and do the site visits with me. Come on now. We're gonna see Millennium Heights and Pokugara together with all the other chiefs. Let's go.
I am truly yours, Ken Sharp, the Chief Energizing Officer of WestProp Holdings, and I'm really excited to be on this beautiful February sunshine morning and introduce you to our top management team, the C-suite. Introduce yourselves, team.
My name is Carrie Lee Miko. I'm the Chief Admin Officer. My name is Tatiana Ellis, COO, Chief Operating Officer.
My name is Mandla Ndebele. I'm the Chief Projects Officer.
I'm Joanna Sharp, Chief Relationship Officer.
And Marilyn Mosha, Sales and Marketing Officer.
These are the chiefs, and we're so proud to stand here today at Pokugara Residential Estate and unveil to you the exciting news about Pret 2 that's going on just behind us there. Let me hand over to Mandla and he'll take you through what's happening.
It's exciting stuff, Mr. Sharp. We're really excited. We've got over 70 houses that are currently being built, 40 of which are actually out the ground, 9 of which are actually nearing completion. So it's been a roller coaster, but we deliver on our promise of delivering on housing that is of luxury value. And what we've done currently now is that of the 9 units that are currently towards finishes, we're going to be starting those in the next month. And once we start that process, we're going to start compartmentalizing the development into phases that will start being opened up.
So how many people are working there, Mandla?
We've got over 150, almost 200 people.
Almost 200 people working at the site.
Almost 200 people.
43 units under construction,
Yes.
9 about to be completed next
Correct,
month.
correct.
And tell us about the finishes, something different that we're doing.
Yeah, well, we're looking at making them all luxury finishes. So we're giving our clients a climax, basically, something that has never been done before here in Harare, in Zimbabwe. Giving exquisite finishes, and it's all about the detail. So we're all about quality, and that's what we're going to be doing. That's our
So our
commitment
premium
to
product, this is our
clients.
flagship that we're delivering.
Correct.
The start of much better, the best is yet to come, as our chairman says. And this is a glimpse of what we're going to have in the future for Zimbabwe. So let's go in and have a look what's happening. So Mandla, that's a fantastic update. But let's hear from the lady. Tell us what's happening with the sales, Marilyn.
The sales are going on very well, Mr. Sharp. We are sold out of the manners.
Sold out of manners.
Sold out of manners. They were very
Amazing.
popular with the clients. We are only left with 3 villas.
By
and
now, 3 villas left.
15 gardens.
And gardens are the most affordable.
They are most affordable and they're single story. They have their own clientele that love just to be on one floor instead of going upstairs.
And what are some of the clients saying to you?
Well, they're very happy that they don't have to deal with the construction works. The fact that we are building all the way to completion, they just need to bring their furniture and clothes and move in. They are happy with the location. They can get around Harare, especially for those who are returning residents or returning citizens of Zimbabwe. They really love the fact that the location is perfect for them to go to the race course, to go to town, to go to the airport, to go to the other northern areas. So they're very happy with the location. They are happy with the security, the fact that there's perimeter walls, there's one entrance that's controlled with good security. They're happy about that, and they can't wait for the recreational area that we're creating in the middle with the clubhouse, tennis courts, braai areas, as well as the swimming pool and other facilities.
Here we're at Millennium Heights Block 2, and I'm so proud to see this beautiful studio. What do you think, team? It's almost completed. This owner has moved in or moving in or renting it out on a daily basis. I heard these Airbnbs are getting $70 to $100 a night, and it actually looks quite spacious. What do you think?
Absolutely beautiful. And the kitchen, unbelievable. And colors suiting the color scheme is
Very comfortable. I mean, you'd rather be staying in here than in a hotel, right? And you got the best view outside because you can see the future of Zimbabwe going right up in front of you. So come and have a look at this view. There's Block 3, our dream come true. It's reaching the final roof level. We're going to go have a look at it in a minute. And that's the dream, the Zimbabwean dream. We've finally done it. The most exclusive looking building in Harare. Glass balconies, lifts. What a dream it is. 2 months' time, we'll have a completed building out there. Let's go have a look at it. We walked into one of these amazing one-bedroom apartments here at Millennium Heights Block 3. Team, just one word. What do you think of this building?
amazing, stunning,
Incredible.
authentic, exquisite.
You've heard it. Those are the 5 best words I've heard in my life. But what I'm so excited to show you today about is our aluminium. It's the first time in-house we're doing our own aluminium doors and windows. As you can see, very easy slide, high quality finish. These are made by our team. So WestProp has moved into manufacturing. We've now got our own aluminium windows and doors, and much better than anything is in the market. Let's go have a look at the bedroom. So again, you can see we've got high ceilings. What is it, Mandla? 3.4 meters. And again, here's the aluminium fittings that I'm really proud of. Look how nice this window opens. Click, click, click. So that holds it in place. So you can adjust it perfect setting. There's the clicks. The door, nice and smooth. Mechanisms. Beautiful quality. Well done, Oleg and our team. This is our new product, Block 3, Millennium Heights. Stay tuned.
Now that you've been with us during our inspection, seeing the progress at Millennium Heights and the occupants in Block 2, as well as the townhouses that are taking off at Pokugara. I'd like to thank you and my fellow chiefs for joining me on site today. If you have any question to ask regarding investing in property at West Properties, please feel free to engage with Mr. and Mrs. Sharp, who are there with you. Thank you once again, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the evening. Here at West Properties, we say onwards, upwards, outwards.
I'm Sekai Gotora. I left Zimbabwe in 1999. I'm Sekai Gotora. I left Zimbabwe in 1999 to go to America to study. Coming back home has always been in our minds. We started looking at different places. We were at an advanced stage with a place in Newlands, but when we did our due diligence with an attorney, we found out it wasn't such a good deal. But because I'm such a big job praiser fan, I was watching some job praiser on YouTube, and I bumped into the Pokugara ad. Generally, West Property, they've been very good. And I met up with Marilyn in person. She made it very easy, and they were able to give us terms on how to pay for the property. When you come here at Pokugara, everybody's friendly. We just felt at home. Investing back home for us, we started off having a lot of fears because we hear a lot of things happening to people, and we were just afraid that we can put our money in the drain. But all those fears turned into good stuff. The experience we had, the facts that I can give you about buying property in Zimbabwe right now, they were good. And my advice is this is the time to buy property. I'm not saying don't do your due diligence, and you have to do that. Everybody has to do that. But this is a good time, it's a conducive time to buy property in Zimbabwe because the property is good and there's some good deals, and to talk to big companies such as West Property, you know, you can get the advice you need. After you do your due diligence, don't waste time because things change.
Please know Mr. Sharp, know Mrs. Sharp, and know their lovely daughter, Tatiana Sharp. So Mr. Sharp, over to you. Thank you.
Hello, testing. Good evening, everyone. And after such an introduction, I think I don't have to say anything. but really, seriously, Mr. Ambassador, Your Excellency put me in the frying pan. So I don't know if I should jump out into the fire or rather just jump onto your plate so you can all eat me alive, because that's probably better. But I'm happy to answer all those questions. In fact, West Property does answer all those questions. And let me start by showing you a little bit about the company. Firstly, apologies for the quality. You know, I expected technology in America to be better than Zimbabwe, but we've at the Sofitel 5-star hotel, we can see the projectors not as good as our quality of our videos we make in Zimbabwe. But I'm not going to bore you with all the details, but essentially WestProp Holdings Limited, which is now a listed company on the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange, started in 2007 with a vision to become the largest premier developer of exceptional properties in Zimbabwe. We actually say we're developing tomorrow's market, and we fulfill the role of master planner. So we plan out a whole city node. We start from grassroots. Sometimes the land is unzoned, and that takes many years. In fact, one of the areas took us 12 years to zone the land. And once the land is zoned, then we add value to the land by urban planning it properly. We involve specialists from as far as Spain, where our lead architect, designer, town planner is based, and Portugal, where another lead architect is. And we bring these world-class designs to Zimbabwe. So on our current land banks, which is just under 1,000 acres of Harare's capital city, Harare, Zimbabwe, we are building about $5 billion of properties. If we can go to the next slide. We started back in 2015 with the first construction of Mbudzi People's Market, and we started the opening of that market at the end in November 2015. And then we went on to start the infrastructure developments in 16 and 17 with places like Gun Hill Rise, which is a residential area of 37 stands. Mainway Meadows we completed as the last phase, and Pokogara show houses we commenced construction as well. And then in Homelands, which is in Mount Pleasant, we built a development of 12 units. And then 18 and 19 saw the real opening up of and finishing of the Pokogara show houses. In 2021, we started the clusters, which was 22 units. The townhouses you saw Mrs. Gatora bought into Homelands 263, we finished off. And we started the phase 1A of Pomona City, which was 142 stands. And then, of course, we went on to block 1 of Millennium Heights. And then through 22 and 23, we completed block 1 and 2, Millennium Heights block 1 and 2. November 22, we completed block 2, and we started block 3, which is currently under construction. And for us, it's a record. We started construction in November 2022, and we're completing that building. As you saw in the final stages, we're due for handover in April. And we launched Pomona City Stands B and C, which was another 550 stands. And the most exciting development to date, 3 of them actually, is really the block 4, which the president of the country, His Excellency Idi Mnangagwa, came and launched. He officiated the ceremony, the groundbreaking ceremony in November last year, and we're currently under construction. We've just got the foundations done, and we're coming out of the ground as we speak. Pokogara Phase 2, which was the development we showed you under construction, we have 44 out of 70 houses already sold and 7 under offer. It's a last part of Pokogara, which has a total of 70 units, and once that's completed, there's no more homes available in that development. And these developments, both Pokogara and Millennium Heights, talk to our lifestyle vision at WestProp, which is to create gated communities, secure communities where people can live, work, shop, and play. And that's an ecosystem, a vertically integrated ecosystem where all the amenities are available in one area. So the residential offering is Pokogara and Millennium Heights, and later this year we're starting the Mall of Zimbabwe, which is the retail mall, and the park in between. So you'll have all the amenities around that, and as I mentioned, once it's sold out, that's the end of it. There's no more houses available. And the most exciting product that I'm going to talk to you tonight about is the Hills Lifestyle Estate. So if we can keep going. Our strategy statement, which I actually came up with in Boston at Harvard Business School a couple of years ago, was with 1 billion bricks by 2050, we will pioneer world-class, vertically integrated, premium lifestyle communities in Zimbabwe. Using technology and innovation, we operate in a high-performance culture of excellence, delivering a customer-centric ecosystem to live, work, shop, and play. And our vision is that we are the leading customer-centric real estate developer for tomorrow's market in Zimbabwe. We've coined the saying of we're bringing Dubai to Zimbabwe. And our mission is delighting our customers with the latest sustainable innovation, incorporating modern designs in both our residential and commercial offerings in Zimbabwe. Thank you. Our core values is to be trusted and reputable, to be relied on as all our stakeholders invest in us and believe in us. We are redefining the market trends with innovation by creating this ecosystem that hasn't been done before. We empower our team to deliver to our clients the best service and development opportunities. And we are leading the real estate industry as the premier developer of tomorrow's market. We believe in giving back. If you can go to the next slide. We believe in giving back to society, and it's always better to give than to receive. And you can see a lot of happy smiling faces around the team. We believe in gender equality. So we have a 50% gender equality policy in the company. In fact, in the senior leadership team, which was 50%, there were 6 executives in my senior executive team. 3 are women, 3 are men. We've just been overtaken because we added 1 more woman. So I think we can now say we're more women than men in the senior leadership of the company, which is not a bad thing. And we give back 10% of our profits to the less fortunate and vulnerable people in our society. We have a huge CSR program that's headed by Simba Kaji, our financial director. And every year in Christmas, we announce. This year, the list was about 5 pages long of all the beneficiaries that we're giving back to. Thank you. These are some of the developments. The Mall of Zimbabwe I mentioned, the Hills Lifestyle Estate. Again, if you will put this online, this presentation and the videos, the quality is a lot better there. But it gives you an idea of some of the offerings that we've talked about. If we can go to the next page. This is some of the marketing material that you'll find we're very active with on social media. We were the first company to engage someone like Japreza, who's a famous musician in Zimbabwe, has more than 1 million followers, to be our brand ambassador. These are some of the pamphlets that have been printed today. You'll see some of them on your table. When we started selling Block 4, we were at $43,000. We're not $70,000 for a studio. So when we start the launch of the product, there's always a benefit to buying in early to the project. And as an early entrant, you gain from the gain in the price. So those people that bought in to Block 4 at 43, are guaranteed to get up to 70 where we're currently selling. But in Block 1, you'll be pleased to hear that we were selling at $25,000 the same studio. And when we launched Block 2, those studios were 35. They ended up being around 45. Block 3 is at 55,000, and now Block 4 is already 70. So there's been capital growth on those investments that people have made. And on that unit of a $25,000 investment, I know one of the owners that rents it out on Airbnb, and he gets 60 to 70% a year return just from the daily rentals of renting it out at $70 a day. So they've done really well with these investments. Thank you. This is the 70 units that I talked about. There were 3 products. The Manors, which are the pink ones on the right, are all sold out. There are 3 villas left, and there's several of the surrounding ones, the smaller garden units, we call them, 70 houses. So this is a typical estate within the city node. So Millennium City, which is the bigger node, has the live, work, shop, play concept. And then within this gated community, we've created another 70 units that has their own tennis courts, swimming pool, and clubhouse. Thank you. If we can go next. That's just the 3 products that are on offer. If we can go to the next one. And these are some of the brands that we've created that I mentioned. And if we go to the next one, I think it's more interesting to look at this. So for me, this is the Google image of the area where we're building Millennium City. And if you look at the far right where it says the Mall of Zimbabwe, that's Border Road that runs down next to Border School there. That's running north, and north of us would be Sam Levy's. So this is the last remaining large parcel of land in the northern suburbs before you get to Harare Drive. And we're developing this as the lifestyle community that we're creating. Millennium Heights that I've mentioned is down there on the bottom, and you've seen Block 4. After Block 4, we're building Block 5, and that will take us to about 450 units of a total of 1,000 units of flats. So we predict within the next 3 to 4 years we're going to get to the 1,000 units. Pokogara, we're already finishing off, as I mentioned. That'll be a closed development by the end of this year. Those will all be sold off. And then in between is the wetland park that we're preserving and the office park around it. So here you have a perfect example of people being able to shop in the Mall of Zimbabwe, work in the office parks. And we've just announced with Zimworks a joint venture to build the first 55,000 square feet office park, where there'll be more than 1,000 people working in the first building, and we're breaking ground in May this year of that building. So we have the offices coming up, the residences are already there, the mall is coming, and this is a perfect example of an investment of about $500 million. So $500 million US is not something to be sneezed at, even in a place like America, but especially in a place like Zimbabwe, it's quite significant. It's a large amount of money to commit to a country. And if you go to the next slide, what excites me even more than our own projects, anyone can say, well, what about the rest? You guys are doing well. And something that you'll be surprised to hear is we're leading the way for others to follow. So this is the immediate area around us. This is north. That's Sam Levy's village over there on the top. And these are developments that have happened in the last 3 to 4 years. Half of them are already finished and sold out completely. And there are 20 developments with about 360 units in them. And that's worth $108 million US. So others have added value by seeing what we're doing. Everyone can do it. The next slide. These are just some images. We can go through them of Block 2. That's 112 units that we're finishing off. The whole roof is solar powered. That's Block 4, which is our best development to date. Block 3 and 4 have vertical gardens on the building. You can plant whole trees up there. And they're the first building to have glass balconies and lifts, elevators. So we fought the residents to go above 4 floors. They didn't want us to have zoning above 4. We've gone to 10 actually. So this building is the first building of 6 floors. And the next ones that follow will be 8 and 10 floors. This is a sales This is inside information. I know we're in public here, but we're going to show you what's happening just to give you a preview. This is of sales 2 days ago. So as you can see, we're at 95% sold out on Block 3, which is remarkable. A building that's not even yet finished. We've only got, 5 units, 2 studios and 3 one-bedrooms left. The next slide will show probably Block 4. And Block 4, as I mentioned to you, has just come out the ground. You can't see it on the top right there, the statistics, but we're 61% sold. And we've just finished the foundations. Isn't that remarkable? That just shows you the belief in our product. And this is 100% sold out. So this is phase 1 of Pomona City, phase 1A. These were sort of 2,000 to 4,000 square meter stands, so half an acre to an acre, and that's completely sold out. People are building houses there now. The next one. This is the last remaining part of phase B and C. And it's really important to say at this event that we've sold 429 stands. There's 166 stands left. That's the last land that WestProp will sell. Pomona City Phase 2, which we'll launch at the end of this year, is something that will change the dimension of Zimbabwean real estate for the foreseeable future permanently. And we will no longer be selling stands, but we'll be selling houses and apartments on leased land. So once those sales happen, that's the end of the sales of land. Next slide. That's the remaining units in, we've seen that in Pokagara. And the next one is the most exciting slide. So again, the quality is not great, but you would see, you can kind of see it in the reflection. So it says, this was done in November. You can see this is the machine that broke ground where the president came to break ground on Block 4. And it says at this site, and that number is 1.4 million bricks. So we've measured every brick that we put in the ground at every site, and we have a digital display on every site how many bricks we're going in the ground, because we at WestProp live and breathe the number of bricks we're putting in. We live and breathe seeing and visualizing 2050 because we're building it every day. At all sites it was 5,600,000, and the total in the pipeline then was 61 million bricks. We're now at 62 million bricks. So we're 6% of the 1 billion vision already achieved, which is remarkable. And I think we should give a clap to the team back in Harare who've done this. And if we can go, I think the next one is a thank you to Tenda Majrita. But I'll go into my speech now, because that was just a short presentation of what the company's doing. But formally, I'd like to say good evening, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed ambassadors, and all protocol observed. Welcome and thank you for being here tonight. I'm most appreciative for the support of both my wife and daughter who are here. I would like to acknowledge our speaker, J.W. Oliver, the CEO of ZimWorks, who really is making a huge difference in our country, Zimbabwe. Creating 1,000 jobs. Can you imagine that? 1,000 people are working in America but living in Zimbabwe. Thank you, JW. And his vision is to create 20,000 jobs by 2032. To all our online guests who've tuned in virtually, and to everyone here tonight, I must say that of all the audiences I've ever addressed, you are certainly the most recent. On a serious note, I'm Ken Sharp, the Chief Executive Officer of WestProp, and back home my team call me the Chief Energizing Officer. As the MC mentioned, it's not a coincidence that we're here tonight to mark this auspicious occasion on the very first event of WestProp doing something outside of Zimbabwe. It's also quite symbolic. And for me, it was important to hold this event in the capital city of America, or the Capitol, as they say. You see, Washington, D.C., and the Capitol in particular is a symbol of the American people, their government, and the meeting place of the nation's legislature. The U.S. Congress, which I toured for the first time today at the Capitol, in fact, a few hours ago. And I particularly like the story of how construction of the Capitol began in 1793. But in the middle of the Civil War, in 1863, the building expansion was actually stopped. Surprisingly, the then President Abraham Lincoln said, "If people see the Capitol is going on, it is a sign that we intend the Union shall go on." And so they went on, and on noon, December the 2nd, the same year in 1863, at a solemn ceremony marked the completion of the dome and the placement of the Statue of Freedom. I don't know if all of you know, but on the top of the dome, there's a Statue of Freedom. It now stands some 231 years after it was first started as a beacon for the free world. I also noted the words, El pluribus unum, which means out of many, one. which is on their money, their passports, and the seals of all three branches of government in America. Likewise, I've always enjoyed the saying, one for all and all for one. And my daughter often says, united or together we stand, and divided we fall. In Shona we say, Nyika inovakwa nevinavayo, which translates something like, we the people will build our own country. And I say that the people can never be separated from their country. You all may live in the diaspora, you all may be far away from home, but you know in your hearts where home is, and we all yearn for the day when we can go back home. Today we have the choice to support Zimbabwe, to grow and prosper, or to stand by and do nothing. I often say, if not now, then when? And if not me and you, then who? I ask everyone tonight the same question. I believe in the future of Zimbabwe, not because of the abundant minerals that we have in our ground, nor for the fertile soil that we can feed not only our nation with the agricultural produce, but also the neighbors, and not even the beautiful nature and wildlife that we have in our Zimbabwe. But I rather believe and trust, like JW said tonight, in the most valuable asset we have, which is actually the people of Zimbabwe. You may not know, 62% of our population is under 25 years of age. And these are the people who truly represent our future. This is why at WestProp we've embarked on a 26-year vision to put 1 billion bricks in the ground by 2050. This is why we are literally building the future of our country, brick by brick, and why I'm committed to see through these projects of bringing world-class, excellent buildings and structures into what we've called lifestyle developments that are vertically integrated ecosystems into places where people can live, work, shop, and play. It is with great humility tonight that I announce for the first time publicly of our planned mixed-use development called The Hills Luxury Lifestyle Estate. You'll find on your tables some brochures of The Hills, and shortly I'll bring up a presentation of The Hills. But this is the first PGA quality championship golf course to be constructed in our country at a cost of not less than $10 million US. And it's the second one in our region, as well as it's being the first luxury 5-star branded hotel to have branded residences in sub-Saharan Africa. So if you look at south of Morocco and Egypt, there's no branded residences in Africa. And we have the first one we're building, even ahead of our neighbor, South Africa. It will encompass 862 homes with apartments, townhouses, villas, and even retirement flats with a clinic and 24/7 care. We're extremely excited that we've managed to create another first, for us being the first 80% plus open space of green areas in the development that we're doing, whilst offering world-class sporting amenities that include not only golf, but also swimming and tennis academies, as well as other sporting and recreational amenities and facilities that have never been seen yet in the country. His Excellency, the President of Zimbabwe, has agreed to officiate the groundbreaking ceremony of The Hills, which will take place in Harare on the 2nd of May 2024. We're excited tonight to offer all of you an opportunity who are either attending here in person or virtually a $10,000 US discount off any product that you decide to buy in The Hills. We have on offer 48 apartments, of which 2 are penthouses for the first time, 4 duplexes, 12 one-bedroom, and 3 studios. We have 27 townhouses, 8 which are large and 19 smaller ones, 37 retirement flats, and 7 luxury villas overlooking the fairways, all with 4 different designs. To secure any of the units tonight, you'll only be required to sign a reservation form and pay the $10,000 reservation fee for the unit, which will be deducted off your purchase price, as well as the additional $10,000 discount from tonight only. So quite an offer on the table. So if we can go to the presentation of The Hills, I'd like to take you through it. And hopefully the quality is slightly better than we've seen. Okay. So whilst we're looking at that, if there's any questions, I'm happy to take any questions. So yes, question back there? Do we have a microphone for him? Can you just say your name as well, and maybe where you're from? Thank you. So whilst we are waiting for that, let's go through the hills. This is the design of the Hills Estate. There's 127 hectares of land on the bottom there. Can we go through the next page? That is the golf course design that was designed by Peter Makovich, a well-known famous designer in Southern Africa. He's designed 7 of the top 10 golf courses. And it's the first golf course that has a lot of water on it. As you can see, there's some lakes and there's a driving range on water. Unfortunately, the detail is not high enough on this projector to see the individual units. But on the top left is where we're opening up phase 1, where I mentioned the construction of the retirement flats, the apartment block, the villas, and the townhouses. And the gatehouse on the western entrance will start construction of that, as I've mentioned, in May. Down on the right is where the branded residences and the hotel is on the hill, and that will be launching probably within the next 2 years. There's a shopping mall attached to it and a 12-floor tower of residences. If we go to the next page. So it is a complete lifestyle experience. The unit that you can see on the bottom is one of the designs that came from Spain, from our architect there, Villa 1, if you go to the next page. And these are 5-6 bedroom villas with an office and a gym and a sauna, as well as living areas that have not yet been seen in Zimbabwe. We have fire pits for the first time. So we actually have 3 lounge areas, 2 inside and 1 outside, and 3 dining areas, 1 inside and 2 outside. So a lot of outdoor living space. They've created a really beautiful product, and these are launching at under $1 million US. If you go to the next one, this is some of the designs. We can go to the next one, probably Villa 2 there, slightly different design to Villa 1, a double story, a more traditional look, if you keep going through them. This is Villa 3 at the bottom. Again, a very modern design. This is one that I selected for myself. Actually, I've bought a unit, so there's 6 left. I've reserved one for myself as an investment. I recommend looking at Villa 3. And I did get permission from my wife. That's the fire pit. You know, as a friend of mine in Canada says, I don't make any of the important decisions. She makes all of them, and to date, I haven't had any decisions to make. That's a wine cellar, by the way. For those of you that like wine, you can see on the top, the staircase is going up through a glass, and the glass wine cellar looks onto the dining area. The ones on the bottom are the townhouses, if you can go to the next slide. It's the first townhouses that we're creating with rooftop decks. Very modern design. These started around 440,000. Go to the next one. Yes, you can see the rooftops there, beautiful contemporary looking style. That's the electric garage door in front of you that opens. And then moving into some of the interiors, very modern. These units we complete. So something we've done in the past on Millennium Heights is to do what we call shell. We finish the shell, we complete the exterior, and you come in and finish the interior finishes. But on all of these products on the hills, we do everything. It's a turnkey product. So the quality of finishes, we're ensuring maximum quality, and we take it right through to just handing you over the keys. Next one. I'm really excited about the apartments on the bottom screen. It's not doing justice to this visual, but it's really a beautiful. This building could be anywhere in the world. Really, it's a stunning building. The penthouses on it. If you go to the next slide, you'll see on the top of the building. If you keep going through these. Yeah, so the next one will show the penthouse. So that whole unit sits on the top of the building. One looking east and the other one looking west, all with a private pool, 2 floors, so it's a duplex penthouse, 4 bedrooms, a really high quality product. And then if you go to the next slide, you can see the interior of the penthouse. That's the glass staircase going upstairs. You can keep going through, just go through the images. if you keep going, then this is the retirement. So there's a big need and demand for retirement units. The only kind of retirement place in northern suburbs is Dandara, and it's sold out, and it's very overpriced for the offering they're giving. So this will be priced more effectively than Dandara, very modern. That room on the top is actually like a library, common area lounge for the people to come together and look at the golf. The amenities include the spa, obviously the 5-star hotel, a shopping mall, the swimming academy, and the tennis academy, as well as a world-class gym. And that's some of the views of the homes looking over the golf estate that we want to create. So we really want to do something exceptional, something that's unexpected, raise Zimbabwe to another level that no one's seen before. And we believe we're doing this in the hills. If you can keep going through, I think that brings it up to a wrap, other than the tennis court. And then that slide shows us in Dubai. We were honored to receive an award this year for the best development in Zimbabwe, and we got a 5-star award for top development in Africa for Millennium Heights and Pokogara. And I'm sure when we show them the hills development this year, we're going to win an international award. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I think we've come to the end. I'll happily take questions. But lastly, and most importantly, I just want to express my gratitude to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, because I know without Him, without God involved in our lives, none of this is possible. And I want to acknowledge Him for everything that He's done for us in WestProp and for our country, Zimbabwe. And using His word, in the Bible, He says, that the last will be first. And Zimbabwe is the last list of countries on the list of countries. So we're waiting for Zimbabwe to be first. And not only are we waiting for it, but we're building it. So the hills we know will be first in many ways. But any questions? I think the gentleman back there had one. And please, can we bring the food and the starters to get people to start eating? If we can arrange for...
All right, that sounds good. My name is Bernard Zandonda. I'm a software engineer for UBS Bank. So I have 2 questions. So the first one is for you, Mr. Ken Sharp. And then the other one is to our Honorable Ambassador. So the first question for you, Mr. Ken Sharp, is you were talking a lot about building the future of Zimbabwe. And I believe for us to build the future of Zimbabwe, we definitely need to have the youth on the table, right? And as I was looking at the branches here, or the prices of the homes that you're talking about, let's say for a young adult like me who is starting out in my career, obviously I'm not going to really be able to afford putting in an investment of 10,000 towards a home, because let's say, for example, I plan to go back to Zimbabwe in 10 years or 20 years. So I definitely need to secure a home in Zimbabwe. But then, realistically, I'm not going to be able to make the commitment of investing in a home in Zimbabwe right now that I'm not going to be living in. So do you have any, let's say, programs for the youth of Zimbabwe, like an investment fund that, I can put in money aside every month, which is not going to put a big hole in my wallet towards a home that I'll live in Zimbabwe 20 years after I have lived in the US. And then my question to our Honorable Ambassador is, you were also talking about the youth of Zimbabwe, being the future of Zimbabwe. I would just like to understand, what are we doing as Zimbabweans or as the governments of Zimbabwe to make sure that the youth of Zimbabwe are also engaged and involved to sit on the table in terms of making the decisions for the future of Zimbabwe? Because I feel for us being the youth, after living abroad, in the US, we definitely have several ideas that we believe we can bring into Zimbabwe. So what are the channels or some of the programs that you are doing as the government to make sure that the youth in the diaspora are able to come back into Zimbabwe to contribute to the success of our country?
Thank you for that question. I'll answer it in 3 ways. Firstly, we can't cater for everyone's needs. So we are a developer of premium exclusive properties that are aimed at the middle and upper income society in Zimbabwe. We do not offer products to lower income groups, and especially high density suburbs. That's a different product offering. And we particularly wanted to go with something that's more inspiring, because we're trying to do something different. We're trying to bring excellence to Zimbabwe. So we understand that not everyone is going to be able to afford that product. But the total offering that we have, which over the next 26 years is probably about 22,000 units of homes, represents a fairly large number of units that we're building. 22,000 homes anywhere in the world is a large number, especially if these are upmarket, expensive homes. But we also understand that there's a housing waiting list of over 1.5 million homes in Zimbabwe. So it's just a drop in the ocean of what we're doing. And I think government and the ambassador can address this more formally. But I think the government is doing a lot to engage with the private sector and make sure that the private sector and government work together to collaborate in coming up with innovative solutions to supply the housing demand. The second thing I would like to say is, you as someone who's young and aspiring for a better future can save into Zimbabwe in various ways. So in our own company, we listed on the stock exchange, so you could buy shares in our company. You could also invest in a REIT. We're looking at the REIT structure, which we're going to launch this year in Victoria Falls, which is the Real Estate Investment Trust. And that allows people, for small amounts of money, to own property that doesn't just sit, but that has a yield attached to it. So things like the shopping mall, the office park, even residential units that we can rent out, that produces rental income that then gets distributed in a very tax-efficient way to the investors, to the shareholders. And we're launching that product soon. So I'd keep your eyes open for that. And lastly, I would say this to you as a young person. I genuinely mean and believe that Zimbabwe's future is with you, the youth. You're 70%. If you're under 30, I'm not sure exactly what age you are, but you look like you're kind of 30. If you're under 30, you're 70% of Zimbabwe. And most of Africa, the continent, is like that. We have a huge number of people that are coming into upper and middle income society for the first time. And that's going to happen in the next 10 to 20 years. And we've got to cater for them. We've got to produce not only real estate for them, but appropriate infrastructure, appropriate services and goods. And we're just fulfilling the role in one of the sectors in the real estate industry. But I will say this as well, that I mentioned $5 billion as our pipeline of product today. When you get to my age, I'm 51. I can guarantee you that that $5 billion will not be worth less than 20 billion. Because the price that we're selling today is not going to remain static. That price will not be the same price in 26 years. So by you investing whatever you can today in that property, you're going to be assured of capital growth over the long term. Harare might sound expensive. It might sound expensive to buy a home on a golf course for $1 million. But honestly, in America, that could be 20 or maybe even $100 million. So we've got 20 to 100 times to grow before we catch up. Thank you. Ambassador.
Well, thanks, Ken.
Thanks.
As government, of course, we do have, at the policy level, we have a Ministry of Youth. And I would urge you to go onto their website just to see what they are doing. Just a few days ago, we were actually celebrating our National Youth Day. So it's a day set aside just to celebrate youth and to listen to them and to engage them as much as we can. As your embassy here, we are trying to build a platform, where we can encourage you as our youth literally to own that platform. You can even use it via our website or create it amongst yourselves. I mean, I've been engaging quite a number of youths in different cities that I've visited. I've been to Boston, Massachusetts, where we were engaging a whole range of youth, and Cheers are here. Actually arranged for me to address the Harvard Kennedy School. And we've been talking about how can we mobilize the youth? How can we create a platform for you guys to exchange ideas? As government, we don't know it all, but we want you to step forward with your own ideas. Just listening to your question, I don't know whether Ken did justice to it. Okay. The first part where you were saying that you probably don't want to buy a house now, but you want to contribute into some fund. That's innovative. We need to develop that idea further, and probably those with a financial background who are in this room might be in a position to assist you to see how that kind of a fund can be created as a US diaspora facility, and you will be owning it. So let's engage, and I'm very happy that we have created this platform where we can begin that kind of conversation, and we need to take it somewhere. By the way, I'm a golfer, so I believe in follow-through. I have to finish. Ken was boasting about his age at 50-something. In my statement tonight, I made sure I had 23 points to celebrate my birthday, 63rd birthday. I was born on the 23rd of February. I will not tell you which year, but definitely.
So one other thing, my daughter, who was here a minute ago, is the acting chief investment officer of the property company. And she reminded me that we have affordable solutions. So one of the things we did with Phase 1A was offer for the first time ever in Zimbabwe, as a developer, 10-year mortgages. So those homeowners that bought 142 stands, most of them bought with mortgages. And they were paying it off over the 10 years. So we also have, and we are looking at mortgages now. We just have an offer on Pomona City Phase B and C where we're doing 5-year mortgages. So you can have as little as a 10% deposit, which could be $5,000, and then you have a 5-year mortgage. And that will give you access to own that piece of land. That will be extremely valuable in the future, because when we stop the sales of land at the end of this year, that's the end of it. When we announce the rest of the city and what it looks like, the value of that land is going to increase substantially. So I think the opportunity is to get in now. And lastly, I'll say that we are also looking at structuring leasehold ownership. So instead of buying a piece of land, and I'll give you an example in Pokogara, where we had stands for sale, 2,000 half an acre, 1 acre stands. We had one client, so we do have people that default. People pass away, circumstances change. A client defaulted about 2 months ago. And when we originally sold that stand to that person, it was about a $100,000 purchase. But when we resold it, it was $200,000. This is a difference of 2 years. So instead of that person gaining the $100,000, we gained because we took back the stand, we refunded him his money, and we resold it. It took 37 minutes to resell that stand. In 37 minutes after taking it back, it was resold to a Chinese gentleman. And they've bought that stand, and they're going to build a home on it. And I know that that home is going to be worth a lot more than the $200,000. But if you remove the $200,000 value from the equation, and you offer that stand to you on a leasehold at $500 a month, you can have forever, for indefinite use of that land without having to pay for it, as long as you keep paying your rent. And that's a different model of land ownership that we've introduced to Zimbabwe. We're the first company to do leasehold ownership. And that's how we're going to be selling the future of the developments in Pomona City, is buy a flat, remove the cost of the land, the flat becomes more affordable, and you have a smaller lease. On a flat, it could be $30 to $50 a month. Thank you. Any more questions? We're going to take two
Yes,
more.
we do.
One over there from the lady.
Thank you. My name is Charity. With time, will you offer opportunities whereby your company will manage the property?
Mhm.
This is catering for people that are like, I will buy the property, I'm not yet retiring, I'm not yet going back home, please manage it for me, I do not want stress. So
Yeah.
the property investors.
I think we're one of the few developers that don't just do something and run away. We stay. And the reason why is we believe in the long-term value we're creating for the company. It's not necessarily the value that we're creating today. And we've had exceptional sales results. Our performance last year was above target. And this year, we're growing from, we achieved more than $25 million of sales last year. And this year, we're going for more than 50 million. So those are significant results in any country. But when we look at those sales, they're short-term because you sell the property and then you move on to the next. So we look at ways of continuing in the development. So we provide services. For example, all our developments are going to be completely technologically advanced with home automation and access control that includes CCTV and applications that you could go into your phone, see who's entering the gate, allow them access, see who's entering your home, allow them access remotely. And those are some of the features that we introduce in looking after your property for you. So we maintain, obviously, the common areas, but we also have a team. Our first property manager joined us this month, and she's building a team of people. We already have 13 gardeners, by the way, working for us permanently. So maintaining the property and keeping the value of the property is exceptionally important to us. If you're referring to leasing or renting of the properties, we haven't yet started that, but definitely in the future it will be a division within WestProp that will handle the rentals on your behalf. One more question.
Before we get a question, Mr. Chap, so we do have a testimonial from somebody who actually invested in WestProp, and she's been living in the US. So, Jackie Guido, over to you.
I'm about to invest.
There is another investor. I'm not sure if she would like to talk tonight. We do have someone in the audience who bought a home from us. But I'd like to introduce Jackie and Guido because we got to know each other through social media. Sometimes I do meet people on social media and reach out to them. And she's a great ambassador for us to use in the US. And we're exploring a relationship with her that we're going to get her to handle all the sales and inquiries from the US. So over to you, Jackie.
Hello, everybody. How are you? I know everybody's like hungry and eating, and I love it. Anyway, I want to introduce myself. My name is Jacqueline Muchanyuka Mugido. I've been in the United States now for more than 29 years. I am a celebrity makeup artist in Hollywood, and I've been there for a while. And I'm really proud to tell you that I invested in Zimbabwe about 14 years ago, where I started a cosmetic business in Zimbabwe that has completely changed the face of how women carry themselves, build themselves. My company is Vault Cosmetics in Zimbabwe. We have employed and trained, and right now there's a lot of youth that are investing in their own future by doing makeup and starting their own little makeup businesses. And besides the youth, there's a lot of women and men that have also invested in the business industry. I have to tell you, Zimbabwe is really big in the beauty industry right now. Now, I go home at least 5 times a year. So not only am I running a couple of shows on TV, some of you might have seen them, but I'm also in Zimbabwe and investing not just in the youth, but also investing in the people of Zimbabwe. There's a misconception out there. You know, when we are here, and I talk about us, the diasporians, and I'm also responsible, when we are here, we, for some weird reason, think that this is it. This is the end all, because we've been told America is where it's at. But I have to tell you something. Zimbabwe is where it's at. If there's anybody that is an ambassador to Zimbabwe, is myself. I work with a lot of chefs. I work with a lot of celebrity chefs. And I pretty much run a lot of those shows. And I took Carla Hall to Zimbabwe last year, and she was like, oh my God, this country is a gem. And I was like, yes, it's my country, Zimbabwe. When I do movies and see a lot of celebrities, all I talk about is Zimbabwe. So as you know, our parents leave us homes. And when we travel, we'll go home and stay at our parents' homes, and then when they pass away, they give us the homes, and that's happened to us. And I realized something about myself. You know, as I said, I've invested in Zimbabwe for a very long time, business-wise, but I love my space, so I Airbnb a lot. And I Airbnb'd at the Millennium now about 3 times, and I hadn't even met the shops. And I remember sitting there this time around, because I was just there in January. And I was laying there, and I talked to the guy that actually owned the Airbnb. And he said to me, Jackie, I bought this property for about $40,000, and I want to show you my Airbnb. And this man had made $63,000. I was like, wait, what? I mean, he's paid off his place already. And I said to myself, you know what? I need to stop lying to myself about the fact that I have my parents' property. Here in America, we have mortgages for 1,000 years. But the truth of the matter is, as much as I am here in America, and as much as I have adopted to a lot of things, I have a daughter here, my husband's here, but my heart is at home. When I land in Zimbabwe, I can't even tell you. People look at my social media and they're like, you're the happiest when you are in Zimbabwe. Yes, there's a lot of things that we need to fix about our country, but guess what? There's a lot of things that need to be fixed about this country too. East or West, home is best. I promise you. We need to start having summer homes, winter homes in Zimbabwe. You might not afford to buy a house, but guess what? We also need to start thinking as teams. You know, like for example, the young gentleman was saying, you know what, I am a youth and listen, let me tell you something. There's young people that are doing things out there. You have the energy to have 5 jobs here. If I had the opportunity, I would have worked 5 jobs here. Get your friends together, get yourself a place, Airbnb it, think of investment, think bigger, think out of the box. And also, for the people that have parents at home, safety is so important. This is an opportunity to put your parents in an apartment and rent out that home for them and let them be in a safe place. I've never felt more safe at home staying at the Millennial Apartments. I have to be very honest with you. So this is the deal. I am so proud to push this brand because at the end of the day, I am a dreamer and I'm a big dreamer. I mean, I am in La La Land. But also the Sharps are dreamers and I love dreamers and I want to be part of that dream.
Thanks, Jackie.
Thank you, Jackie. To the people watching online, please submit your questions to sales@westprop.com. Online is Marilyn, Simkai, and Colin from WestProp who are ready to engage you.
Thank you, Harare, for staying awake so late.
And
Do
we have
any
one more
questions?
question.
Ken, there's only 5 dealers left.
You bought one? Yes. Oh, let's give him a round of applause. There's only 5 dealers left.
Oh, wonderful. And I
sold two
have the
tonight.
forms, so if you want a form,
Make sure you
please
ask your wife.
just lift up your hand and I'll bring it to you. We have the reservation form and the offer form. So let me...
So no more questions. I take it everyone's happy. Food is good. Thank you,
We
everyone.
have one question,
One
Mr. Sharp.
question, one question.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Melody Mazuana. I am a data scientist with the DoD. Thank you guys for coming. I've been following WestProp for a couple of years, and you're really doing an amazing job. I think you partially answered the question I have, but it's more so not the maintenance of the property, but like Jackie was saying, right? Someone is making $60,000. If I do invest in a property, I don't necessarily have the bandwidth and the time to look for whether it's the cleaners, right? Because I Airbnb a lot. And I know that those reviews are super important. So is that something you're looking at from a management perspective, whereby I come in, I buy a property, you know, I'm going to come to Zim maybe once a year, but all I'm looking at are the numbers from you guys, right? You had this number of check-ins, you cleaning it and all that stuff. Is that something that's in your, you know, in your horizon
So
as a managing package?
Yeah. You got a great question, Melly. By the way, great glasses. I love the style. And because you look like a trustworthy lady working for the DoD, I guess I have to trust you, and especially a data scientist. So I'll tell you something that I haven't told the market yet, but Block 5 in Millennium Heights, it's a replica of Block 3, which we're just finishing off. We've converted it all to 1-bedroom and studios. And the entire building, we're not placing it on the market, it's sold. 152 units has been pre-sold, but we've sold it to a fund that we own, and we're allowing investors to come in and buy into the fund. So if you wanted to buy 1 unit, and that's all rentals, so it's all daily rentals. It'll be a part hotel building within Millennium Heights. And if you came in and bought a unit, you'd get the rental for that unit back. You could also buy, you know, a week or a month. So talking to the younger gentleman again, if you can't afford a whole unit, you can buy, you know, a percentage of that unit and get back pro rata a return on your investment. Thank you, everyone. Thank you again. One more question over there. sound? Is it on?
Good evening. My name is Nkulumo Zinyengere. I'm an agriculture economist. First of all, my compliments to you, Mr. Sharp. I think the properties that you're presenting really look quite amazing. As someone that has grown in Zimbabwe, I'm actually not sure that I've ever been in a property that looks like that. So it's really quite exciting as an opportunity for investment. And of course, also compliments to the ambassador for giving us the opportunity to listen to you.
Excuse me, can we just have one? Can we listen to the question? Thank you.
Thank you very much. My question is, this looks like very, very attractive opportunities for investment, especially the reason my question comes later is because you started mentioning issues to do with rentals, because earlier I felt a little bit like it was, mostly retirement, you go back home, and for young people, we're probably not thinking like that at the moment, but if we do want to buy properties, it's for investment. So the rental is quite attractive. I'm not sure though what opportunities there would be to actually repatriate some of that money into the US if you were living here, because chances are you could probably be able to invest via some loans that we could secure here, but you would need to be able to repatriate some of those resources in order to repay that. So that would be very attractive for us, but I'm not very sure what room we have to be able to do that. That's my question. I don't know whether that's for you, Ambassador.
And I think it comes back to the economic fundamentals of Zimbabwe. And if we look at the current environment, at least 80% of our economy is US dollar. We as a company are 100% US dollar, so we don't sell any properties in local currency. And one of the reasons why we listed on the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange is because it's a US dollar exchange. It's the first exchange in Africa that's USD. But the other thing that we are short about is the president recently promulgated the law allowing the use of multi-currency tenure. It was due to expire this year in January, and he's extended it to 2030. So we know at least until 2030, US dollars is going to be a main currency to be used in Zimbabwe. The other thing is when you invest into Zimbabwe, you should register your investment as a loan. So the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, under the Exchange Control Act, ELCC, will register that loan either through your commercial bank or directly, depending on the amount. So if it's, I think it's under $500,000, it doesn't need to go to Reserve Bank, but it's over $500,000, it goes to the Reserve Bank. And they acknowledge that you've invested that money into Zimbabwe as a foreign currency receipt. That is a legal debt that the country owes to that external party. So the country assumes that debt, which means that it's as good as a sovereign debt. And that means that you are free to remit back both the proceeds of the capital of that debt, any interest that you charge on that debt, and any profits that you receive from that investment. So that's pretty straightforward, easy to do. You don't even need to register a company, you don't even need to register an investment through the investment agency. You just go straight through your bank, they'll register the amount that's coming in, and that's good enough to get your money back out. So if there's no other questions, my wife has one more. I will take one more there. And then I'm going to ask if I can be excused, because I know my wife's Ukrainian. There's a saying that translates, the only free cheese is in a mouse trap. Or, and there's no free lunches. So I guess I'm earning my way here, but I am getting very hungry. Yes, sir.
Ken, thank you so much for the wonderful presentation. Quick question for you. I know we are talking about having, the diaspora coming in to invest, obviously looking at flow of funds coming from the US, right? My question I have is, locally in Zim, is there an opportunity, or have you worked with local financial institutions who can be able to advance mortgage facilities or funding where people from here can be able to go through those channels and be able to invest in these properties using local financial institutions in Zimbabwe?
That's a great question. Thank you for bringing it up. Zimbabwean fundamentals are still not right. And the economic fundamentals, because we've been through, I would say, at least 3 periods of hyperinflation where capital was wiped out completely, people are shy of banks. So you'll find a lot of cash in Zimbabwe under mattresses, in boxes, circulating in people's hands, but they won't go and deposit it in the banks. So the capital markets have been weakened in Zimbabwe to the detriment of all the banks. And an example of this is the mortgages I mentioned to you. So we've built up a mortgage book that is over 24 million US dollars today, and it will be over 30 million US dollars by the end of this year. When we went to the banks to say, we're not a bank, and we want you to buy this mortgage book from us as a mortgage-backed security or refinancing it, we discovered that the biggest bank in Zimbabwe, I won't mention a name, their total book was 6 million. So our mortgage book is 5 times bigger than the biggest bank in Zimbabwe. That's unheard of. And 30 million is not a huge amount of money. We'd like to increase the mortgages to at least 100 million. So we're now talking to regional bankers and financing structures. And we'd welcome anyone in the US that has access to capital markets that's interested in exotic markets like Zimbabwe, because these are secured mortgages with real estate. You know, we have the land, and they have a huge yield. We charge between 12 and 18% a year on our mortgages. So they're yielding much better than these markets, but the money's not coming. So yeah, we'd welcome that. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Sharp. And I mean, the Sharps are still here, and Marilyn is online, Colin is online, Simkai is online. So please feel free to shoot them an email. And the email address is sales@westprop.com. Sales@westprop.com. I just want to acknowledge, I was going to do it after Mr. Sharp, but I want to thank Ambassador Rama, the Senior Director for the Atlantic Council's Africa Center, who's here, and she wanted to learn more about Zimbabwe. So thank you, Ambassador Rama. I know you're so busy and you had a long day, but thank you for coming. I also want to thank, many of you are probably aware of her, AU Ambassador to the US, Madam Hilda Suka Mafudze. Thank you, Ambassador, for being here. So, ladies and gentlemen, I cannot acknowledge everybody, but thank you for coming. We are here, the Sharps are here, and we have drinks. Please feel free to just get your sodas, and while you have your dinner, they're just in those 2 corners of the room. Enjoy your dinner.